on this episode of Media Addicts.
We do the best and the worst of 2012 music.
Games.
And movies.
Hooks! You guys are supposed to catch me.
You guys suck.
You are watching Media Addicts. Hi, my name's Kevin Whitney,
I'm Kurt Hartwell.
and we're going to be doing the best and worst of 2012 music.
Starting at number 5 is Too Close by Alex Clear.
Alex Clare kind of, well, you told me that you really didn't appreciate a ton of his work.
Nah, not really.
It was, what would you say it would be?
The problem is it was way too overplayed by the Internet Explorer commercial, and it's sick. I was sick of it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you hear it about 40,000 times probably, a day.
Exactly, right.
And especially when you're on a YouTube all the time. And so, overall, I'd rate it about a 3 out of 5. I like the sound, but I just think it was overplayed, like Kurt said.
Yeah.
On to number 4.
Number 4 would be Locked Out of Heaven by Bruno Mars. Bruno's my boy. I absolutely love this song. I absolutely love Bruno. Never had a problem with him. I always thought he was very talented. And, yeah, I just think the song's great.
I think Bruno's kind of overrated, but I liked Locked Out of Heaven. It had this new kind of, again, with this new feel to it. It wasn't the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What would you rate it overall?
A 4 out of 5.
Okay, on to number 3.
Number 3 would be Sail by AWOL Nation. I absolutely hated this song. I cannot stand this song.
I didn't mind it. The guy's voice gets a little whiny and a little bit annoying.
Right.
But I liked it because, well, the music video for it I thought was pretty cool. I didn't really understand it a ton, but that's what I liked about it. It was almost like an awkward kind of thing. And I'd rate it probably around 2.5 out of 5, 3 maybe. I'll say 3.
I'll rate it a 1 out of 5.
Well, on to number 2.
Would be Work Hard, Play Hard by Wiz Khalifa. I'm not a fan of rap, so I'm not a fan of Wiz Khalifa. Therefore, I'm not a fan of this song. Just my thing. Sorry.
Well, when I work out and do cardio and stuff like that, this song's usually a great pump up song to hear. It's very in the mood to do something special, I guess, kind of keep on your grind and whatnot. I'd rate it probably a 4 out of 5 because Wiz Khalifa, he just keeps making hits after hit after hit after hit. So, what would you rate it since you've listened to it enough times?
Like a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, okay. And on to number 1.
Number 1 would be It's Time by Imagine Dragons. It was hard for me to get into Imagine Dragons originally, but after a while they were pretty good. I mean, the guy's voice is, I don't think it honestly goes with the music, but it works, I guess, because he sounds good when he sings. So it's a pretty good song.
Well, I've always been a huge Imagine Dragons fan, and pretty much ever since they started out. Their whole album, Night Visions, is just a masterpiece overall, and I'm glad that It's Time was one of the premier songs on the commercials for Perks of Being a Wallflower, I think it was called. And I'm glad that the song has gotten popular, and I'm glad that they're starting to become bigger and more successful.
Right.
I'd rate it about a 4 out of 5. What would you rate it?
Same thing, 4 out of 5.
The worst we rated, I don't think it's worse, but Kurt thinks it's worse. Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen.
I absolutely despise this Canadian.
This Canadian.
It's just it's one of those corny One Direction cardboard products of disgustingness. It's just horrible.
She did a pretty good song with Owl City, Good Time. That was a pretty good song.
Don't bring it up.
I don't mind Carly Rae Jepsen. I think she's pretty good. I think
she's hot, and that's all I'll give her.
No, she doesn't have a bad voice. She sounds different from all the other pop stars, I think. I mean, she has some of the same elements, I guess. But overall, I thought she was okay.
Elements, I see what you did there.
All right, I'm Kevin Mooney.
And I'm Kurt Hartwell. See you later.
And on to games.
Hi, I'm Brock Dowdle.
And I'm Kurt Hartwell.
And this is our best and worst 2012 game.
All right, let's start this off. Okay, number 5, Skylanders Giants. These these things.
It's pretty magnificent little pieces here.
I don't know. I've never really used one, but apparently my cousin does all the time. She loves them.
Yeah.
Anyway, basically you put these things on a platform, and it actually puts the character into the game. That actually sounds pretty cool. I'd be willing to try it out if I had time on my hands nowadays.
Yeah.
So,
Number 4, Madden 13.
I'm not gonna lie, not a huge football fan, and so I'm not a huge football gaming fan. It's just not my thing.
I personally like it, like everything else. I personally like. In Madden 13, you have new physics, and this just instead of just running by and like brushing your foot through another person, it actually affects how you play. So you could get tripped.
So
I suppose.
Yeah, so a decent updated physics engine. That sounds pretty good.
Everybody likes physics, unless it's in school. All right, number 3, Black Ops 2.
Now, I mean, honestly, what can you say about another Call of Duty game? It's the same thing. I mean, they added a futuristic feature this time. I mean, it's still the same thing if you ask me. I played the multiplayer. I pre-ordered it against my will, basically. I guess the maps are okay. The zombies are okay. I didn't even touch the story mode. So,
But unlike the story mode in previous ones, what you can actually do now is you have the option to not only play as a person, but you can control machines in it, which gives you a whole new layout and a whole new aspect to all the Call of Duty games. Plus, you have split games, so like you can actually make decisions to where it helps you or hurts you.
nice.
It's pretty awesome. All right, number 2, Halo 4.
Now, we already talked about this, so there's not much to say. What the new designers did with the game, they did pretty damn good, if you ask me.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, fast-paced multiplayer, always good, and graphics look excellent.
Everybody needs that little bit of adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
All right.
And now going on to number 1, Assassin's Creed.
3.
Now, I am a huge fan of the Assassin's Creed series. I love the first one. The first one will always be the best, But the thing is, like with the second one, Brotherhood and Revelations,
All
they were
based
all
on Ezio.
they're all focused on Ezio, exactly. And not that Ezio's a bad guy. He's like this like awesome Italian dude, like
Total BA.
yeah. And but it just got old. So it's good to see that they did something new with like the whole Revolutionary War theme.
Yeah.
I really like that. They had new weapons, which is actually really interesting. I really like that.
I really like the background of the main character. He was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's
Being
very
the
cool.
Indian
Mm-hmm.
dude.
That's it for that. Now let's talk about the worst of 2012.
Battleship, the game.
Now, when it comes to movie-based games, you're gonna expect crap basically 99% of the time.
Even from a crappy movie, so.
Yeah, crappy movie, crappy game, so you know it's gonna be bad. It's like they were trying to imitate Halo way too much. It was just a bland first-person shooter that no one really cared about, honestly. And there's no Rihanna. What's up with that? There's no Rihanna in the game. You kidding me?
I don't even think did they even have a Rihanna soundtrack? Like, was she even in part of the game?
I'm not sure, actually.
So I'm Brock Dowdle.
And I'm Kurt Hartwell. See you guys
See ya.
around.
I am Kevin Whitney,
And I'm Kurt Hartwell.
and we are going to do
The best and worst of 2012 movies.
yeah. So let's start off with number 5, Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect. Now, I'm not gonna lie, didn't see the movie. I don't know a lot about it, except for it kind of looks like a Glee ripoff from what I have seen.
Overall, the only thing that I've really heard of it was what you said. It's a Glee ripoff, and it's. I heard about that Fat Amy.
Fat Amy, right? I have heard about that too.
She
Yes.
trends on Twitter from time to
Right.
time.
Mhm.
But it didn't really. I guess it just from the commercials that I saw, it looked kind of boring and it looked like a ripoff. So I was just like, not really seen it. I guess I'll just rate it a 2 out of 5 because I just haven't seen it.
All right, a 3 out of 5.
Wow, you're nice.
Yeah.
Okay, on to number 4, The Avengers.
Now, from what I understand, The Avengers is basically the sequel to all of the Marvel-based movies. So I actually thought it was just a sequel to Captain America. I guess it's for all of them, though. So, I mean, I don't know a lot about it. I know the basic idea of it. It sounds like a pretty decent movie. I wish I could have gone and seen it, but
This movie was huge at the box
It
office.
It was gigantic.
But since I haven't seen this one either, I'll be a little bit more generous because I trust kind of like the box office. I'll rate it a 3 out of 5. What would you rate it?
I'd rate it probably 3.5 out of 5.
All right, on to number 3, The Amazing Spider-Man.
Now, I watched the original Spider-Mans, and from what I can tell, they don't compare at all to this movie.
This movie is gold compared to the turds that they did in the trilogy of.
Well, I mean, when I was a little kid, I really enjoyed them, but looking back now, they were pretty cheesy.
Awful. They are all awful. Tobey Maguire, like, compared to the new Peter Parker, but he did The Social Network, and he's now the new Peter Parker, and he is just an amazing actor.
And they plan on making more movies, right?
Yeah, they kind of have like this little ending where they have, like, after the credits, they have like this little thing after Lizard Man is put in jail, and it's kind of like a cliffhanger.
Right.
I was just like, oh, if they make a new one. What I liked was another actor was Emma Stone. She was perfect for Gwen Stacy, and
Emma Stone.
She was like, oh god, she was awesome as Gwen Stacy, and she wasn't like the typical damsel in distress. She was
Emma Stone is always awesome, Kevin.
She was actually just helpful in the story overall. But overall, I'd rate this a 5 out of 5. It was the perfect superhero movie in my opinion.
I'll give it a 4 out of 5, and I really need to catch up on my movies.
Yes, you do. On to number 2.
Ted. Okay, here's one I've actually seen. All right, now I thought Ted was absolutely hilarious. I mean, you know, the whole Thunder Buddy joke and all that stuff. The only part that really disappointed me about it was Ted's. I mean, I know that the same guy who did Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane, did Ted's voice. But I thought he could have done something more different than Peter Griffin, because he does other voices for Family Guy too. So I thought he would be able to come up with something original for Ted's voice. So I was kind of disappointed about that, but the movie was absolutely hilarious. Mila Kunis.
I loved the humor in it. It was like what I thought from the start was going to be like Seth MacFarlane. He doesn't have the chains from the TV networks telling him what and what not to say.
Mm-hmm.
He has free reins to do what he wants. So he really let everything out in this one, and I absolutely loved it. Overall, I'd probably rate it a 4 out of 5. I had a lot of laughs watching this.
I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was excellent. Funniest movie of 2012, definitely.
On to the number 1 of 2012 of the best.
Who could forget this movie? I'm ashamed of you. Okay, number 1 movie.
The Hobbit. Of course we have to review The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. And this movie was such a disappointment. This movie by far to me was just I expected so much more. It had like a lot of things that you could like about it as a Tolkien fan, but I just anyway.
Well, my entire life I've been a Lord of the Rings fan. So to hear that makes me want to basically murder the man sitting next to me. I even bought the freaking ring, the one ring to rule them all. That's how big of a fan I am. I wear it on my ring. I've worn it for like a year. Anyway, I didn't get to see it in theaters, and I'm so disappointed in myself that I didn't.
The 3D was absolutely fantastic. By the
I
way.
bet it was. Thank you very much. I bet someone who would have appreciated the movie would have appreciated seeing it in 3D.
Say 3 out of 5 for this.
I'm going to say 18 out of 5 for this one.
Now on to the worst movies of 2012. Battleship.
Now, we already talked about the game. Now, given that, I will say at least the movie had Rihanna. The game didn't have Rihanna. That's a no-no. That is a freaking no-no. You don't take Rihanna out of something that she's already been in. That is disappointing as hell.
It was very Disturbia overall. I'd have to say this movie.
That was
I'm too punny.
very punny.
Okay. This movie, it was like Dimension Films. They like to throw like little ads and like little crap in there, and I hated it. It's just like Transformers. If they said Transformers at the end of the title, would anyone really see the difference?
Exactly.
It's just like Coke, Mountain Dew, Pepsi. But overall, I'd rate this probably a 1 out of 5. It was very bad.
I'm only giving it a 1 out of 5 for Rihanna. Otherwise, it would have been a 0 out of 5.
I'm Kevin Whitney.
And I'm Kurt Hartwell. See you later.
Thank you for watching. Love you.